Hello and welcome to Castival. This is the podcast which brings brilliant guests to pitch their dream music festival. I'm the host, Matt Hoss, and I'm here to help the logistics of the festival and help dot the I's and cross the T's to make my guest festival operate as successfully as possible. Today's guest is one of the dearest people I have the pleasure of knowing. Not only is she a wonderful human being, she's a podcast host, author, and on top of that, she's a multiple award-winning comedian and has appeared in Lively Apollo, Hypothetical, Rose Battle, and so much more. It's no one other than the wonderful Laura Lexx. Hi!
Hello, Matt Hoss. How are you?
How are you? Was that a nice intro?
That was a lovely intro. It's quite nice listening. I was like, oh, I've done some fun stuff.
Well, I always feel a little bit like shy when I do that. It's like, oh god, I've researched them, but like, yeah. Like when you're also my friend as well. I feel kind of weird that I went on your website an hour ago. If you know what I mean? But,
yeah, to be fair, you didn't have to really research that. You've just been there for most of that.
Yeah, I had been there all your gigs, and
you've been there picking up the pieces when I'm like a nervous wrecking ball.
Hey, we do it for each other for sure. But yeah, thank you so much for coming to Castival. It's a pleasure to have you. Well, let's just get straight into it because I think we have a lot to talk about today, and I'm very excited to chat to you on this topic. So if someone to ask you what kind of music are you into, how do you usually respond?
Oh, see, I hate this question.
That's why I ask it. It's great, isn't it?
So I don't think I've got a very refined music taste. I think I'm quite scattergun, and I'm also quite mainstream.
Yeah.
I don't put much effort into finding music, so I do tend to like what I stumble across.
Yeah.
And I'm not really actively searching much stuff. I'm not very obsessive about music either. So I like a broad spectrum. I like a lot of stuff from like real 70s rock is one of my favorite things, like 60s stuff, right up to some rap and like modern sort of hip hop, drum and bass. But I do tend to have a very shallow depth knowledge of all of it.
Yeah, well, I think most people kind of have that as well, because I think it's also a more natural and fulfilling way to have a music taste where you just stumble across things and just enjoy it whilst you can. I think I like that. Have you ever been convinced to learn an instrument? Have you ever wanted to be in a band or anything like that?
Yeah, when I was younger, like I do play a little bit of piano. I can vaguely play the flute.
Yes.
I've had singing lessons over the years. I had violin lessons for a horrible year. Musically, I'm not bad.
Yeah, quite classically trained. Yeah, it's lovely. So how was your experiences with the violin as well? Because I remember
horrible.
It's an instrument where listening to it when you don't know how to play it very well can be quite horrible.
Yeah. And I really hated like the method of learning too. It was really like military, and I just hated it, so I didn't do that for very long. I still love the piano. I really wish I'd stuck to playing the piano. I think that's something I'd probably go back to a little bit later in life, like get a keyboard or sort of small piano and learn to play that a bit better. And I like singing and I like music. I don't know, I think because if I'm on my own, I don't tend to listen to music. I will always put a podcast or an audiobook on. So then if I'm putting music on, it's probably because I'm in a social occasion, and then I'm not like, oh, what's new? Get my head around it. Like my brother will like discover a new album and just sit on the sofa and listen to an album, just looking at the wall while he listens to it. And I get that that's entertaining for some people, but I'm like, oh Lord, no, like that's no, I can't do that.
I like how you say you like it for social situations. And imagine you're at like a dinner party post-COVID and you kind of like, hello Alexa, can you play one new music artist, please? One Stormzy, please.
Yeah. Oh, I actually really dislike Stormzy's music.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the minority here, but he seems really cool. So I was like, brilliant, I'm going to love this. And it was a bit like Lewis Capaldi all over again. I've been like, Lewis Capaldi seems really fun. Put his music on. I was like, God, I want to die. Why am I so sad? Oh, this music. And then with Stormzy, I was like, cool, all right, he seems really fun. And then it just was a bit like not quite spitty and hard enough for me, but not quite melodic enough either. And Tom did explain to me, that's my husband, did explain to me what genre it was, and perhaps I just didn't love that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds right. It's not for me.
But I think there are quite a few artists who I like as a person, but not necessarily their music as well and what they stand for. And I think that's absolutely a valid opinion as well. Like, 'cause
Yeah,
I can definitely, and also on the flip side, there are some people who can be quite horrible, but have a couple of good singles. But you probably should,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a music festival?
I have. I've never paid to go to a music festival, but I have been to them because I've been gigging at them.
Yeah. Which music festivals did you really like quite a lot, and which ones were you like, wow, I would like to, I would even pay to go here, if any?
Oh, none of them.
Yeah, like
I really
well,
don't think I would ever pay to go to a music festival because I don't like music and I don't like festivals.
well, here's the thing. I found when I approached you to come on this podcast, you replied, and I just want to remind you of a quote you said, and this is the only thing on the email, by the way. But it says, "I would love to. My only issue being I don't care about music. Can I have a festival with no music?"
But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh, I don't like the festival elements of festivals either. So I was like, oh, I'm a terrible guest to have. I wouldn't be doing this podcast if it was anybody but you.
Thank you.
So the festivals I've liked the best are End of the Road Festival was great.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. What else have I enjoyed? Green Man was really nice. Yeah, the smaller, like, boutiquier festivals I've liked the most. But then they come with a problem that they also appeal to other middle-aged knobheads like me. So I've been thinking about, like, a list of ground rules I'd have to have for my own festival.
How about we go straight into the setting up the camp and we'll hear your fundamentals. So, Laura, do you have a name for your festival by any chance?
The Matt Hoss Celebration.
You know what? I'm liking this festival so far.
Which has no link to... I don't have a name for the festival. I'm not going to name the festival.
Yes.
It's going to be like Best Kept Secret in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name it, and you can only come if I know you.
Okay, that's cool. So you just mentioned some ground rules, which I, as a fan of rules, I'm very much looking forward to. Can you take me through some of your ground rules, Laura?
Yeah, okay. So no children.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, nobody under 25 at all.
Whoa. So, like, fortunately, I'm so young. I'm only just 26, so I'll be allowed to come. But
come.
like, yeah. But so why not under 25? It's just because. What's your thinking there?
Because I don't want to feel old. I'm only 33, but when people are 21, they make me feel old. And I go to all the other festivals. Just none of those. They can't come.
Okay.
Like, there's loads of places where they can go. I just don't want anybody shrieking at my festival.
And that's rule number 2.
Yeah, no shrieking. No glitter.
No glitter.
No flower headbands.
So really you're cutting it against the kind of mainstream festivals, like the young people with the hairbands and the glittery faces.
No denim shorts and hunter wellies. No, that's a combo that's not allowed to happen. No one is allowed to come if they have a blog.
Oh wow. Well, oh my.
See, I can't even go to my own festival. That's how exclusive this festival is. I'm really trying to get everybody that could possibly be annoying out of my festival, and that includes myself. So I'm aware that these are draconian rules, okay? And I'm aware that I sound like a complete joyless bitch with this list. But I'm trying to think of everybody that's ever annoyed me at a festival, and they fit into these rules.
I can't imagine who's left, really. I just imagine some accountant for like a Swedish bank just being like, yeah, I can come along. It's like,
what a great festival. Lovely. There's lots of Swedish accountants. That's what you want in a festival.
Exactly.
So basically, I think the thing that I want to go for here is, like, because we'll get onto the music in a minute, but you'll see when I come to the music that this festival is it's a festival for people like me that feel insecure at festivals because we're not festival-y enough to be at the festival, you know?
Yes.
Like, I want to go away and I want to have a nice weekend with my friends. But then you feel like every time I'm at a festival, I feel like there's that group of friends that are like professional festival goers.
Yes.
And
There's
they've
so
got trolleys with speakers on them and fairy lights attached to everything. And it's like, what? How are you? What do you spend May prepping for this? Like, and then I feel all insecure, like, oh, I'm not doing this right. And I just don't want any of that. I don't want any of that nonsense at my festival.
I tell you what, like, and I don't mean to try and pick apart my fan base as it's growing, but the kind of person you're definitely talking about is the one who has all the wristbands on their arms. And I've been here for the last 10 years, actually. So I've done it every time. It's like, come on, Neil, like, cut them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they're different to the people, like, you know, the people that sort of work there and you can steward or litter pick or something for half a day and then you get to attend the festival for the rest of it. They're all right because they're clearly like so into festivals that they don't mind working. But it's the people that like use trust fund money to pay for going to all these festivals and then they think that they're down to earth because they can spend thousands of pounds a year sleeping in fields. And no, you're not a special eco warrior because you've gone to a massive landfill producing thing. That side of festivals bugs me a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so do you know or have any idea where geographically your festival may be?
Oh, geographically, I hadn't thought of that. I suppose I'd want it to be somewhere quite annoying to get to. So like
This is the first and only festival which, like, right, we're going to make it really hard for you to get there because we don't want you there. You can fuck off, really.
You have to be desperate to come to this festival if you come. So like, but you know how like Green Man is in awkward part of Wales and it's not in like a touristy area. So if you go, it's not like because it's 2 hours out of London, so why wouldn't you? So maybe like down somewhere nice in Cornwall or the South Devon coast. That would be quite cool. And that would fit with some of my other plans. So yeah.
Okay. So is there camping at your festival?
Yes. But nice camping.
Oh, okay. Glamping. Yeah. So
I think you're not allowed to bring your own tent because too many people take their own tent and then just leave them there.
Yes, that's really bang out.
And that's terrible for landfill. So I think like glamping and lodges.
Yeah.
Basically, Centre Parks.
I was wondering how middle class it would be. And then you said Centre Parks. There we go. But okay, so you have quite a lot of ground rules, and I'm going to say a specified vibe for this festival. But how would you go about policing it as well? So if someone came in with a bag full of glitter and headbands and youth, how will you police it?
Well, if they've got glitter and headbands, they're just kicked out.
Yeah, instant, bam.
Yeah, especially the glitter. It's terrible for the environment. So they're out. If they're youthful, maybe I'd let them stay until they start showing symptoms of youth. Like if they sit on somebody else's shoulders during a music act, get out. Somebody once told me that American Idiot was Green Day's best album. Get out. Like that kind of, you know.
Oh goodness, mate. So okay. So
if you see your friend heading to you from across the field and you get up squealing and run over and hug them, get out. You can't be at my festival.
What I love about this festival is that I imagine when the music act comes out, it goes, "Hello, how's it going?" You just see a wave of like baggy-eyed people going, "No, fucking get on with it." You know what I mean? Hurry up.
We'd all very quietly say to ourselves, "Oh, we're really well, thank you. How are you?"
Thank you. Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, we just wouldn't be going, "Wah." That's all I just want to cut out. I don't mind enthusiasm. I just don't want this performative enthusiasm, this performative festivaling. That's what I don't want.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's going to be in your festival. It's a big talk, but let's see if it's a big walk. Let's head into the main gates of your festival. Hey, this is Matt Hoss here. Just a quick reminder to politely ask you to please subscribe to Castival, as well as give us a 5-star review. It genuinely only takes about 2 minutes of your time, and it really helps the podcast to be seen. Plus, it would make me incredibly happy to see those 5-star reviews. Thank you so much for helping. Please enjoy the rest of the podcast. needed a wee late last night, and I've got no place to go. I took a wrong turn and now I'm here. I'm pissing in the field. Pissing in the field. How many days do you think you might have for your music festival, Laura?
I think it's gonna run from a Tuesday to a Friday.
Oh,
so
wow.
that
Whoa.
Weekend, yeah. Unless you're willing to take the week off work, you can't come.
Before this record and during it, you said that, you know, I a bit of a disclaimer. I don't want to come across as a bit of like an arsey sad lady, if you know what I mean. And you kind of come in here like Devil Wears Prada, kind of like, no one can come in unless you're very dedicated.
I just don't want any of these weekend festivals, right? I don't want you to finish at your job on Thursday night in your HR department of your London office and then be like, oh, aren't I bad? I've taken Friday off. Ooh. And then head down with your tins of G&T that you've bought at the M&S train station. No, you can't come. So it's Tuesday to a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, okay, I like that. And may I say, I've recorded quite a lot of these. It's the first time people have not gone from Friday to Sunday. So you've got renegade Laura Lexx here. Just like, you know, I'll flip on its head. Most of this is about what we love and our tastes. And I like it because it's mostly hate and spite at the moment. So
which is so weird because I'm such a happy person generally. I'm a very upbeat person, but something about this subject of festivals is just making me furious. It's so weird.
With that being said, we're going to talk about some of the music acts at your festival. So on your first day, your Tuesday, who are some of the acts you have playing?
Okay, so here's my plan for my festival, right?
Yes.
It's going to musically, chronologically go through my taste in music throughout my life.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Genuinely, that's like a concept festival. That's brilliant. So like every day is like a segment of period of time in your life.
Yeah, and I don't know how it would quite work. And obviously this wouldn't mean that the music was chronological because obviously as I've got older, I've liked things from further back. So
yeah.
So I suppose it would start with probably early 90s type stuff. So the Tuesday would probably be quite like, what sticks out from that era? Like Two Unlimited and boy bands and sort of the end of that dance kind of thing into... But the thing with this festival is it's probably going to be very mainstream because I've never been an offbeat music person. So it's going to stay relatively mainstream. So the early stuff would be like 90s. So it would start with Dodgy and Ocean Colour Scene and sort of probably lots of Britpop and stuff on the Tuesday. And then I'd say the Wednesday probably gets into like my boy band phase.
Okay. So, well, let's deconstruct the Tuesday first because I think boy bands is going to be a whole leviathan we have to get into here. So 90s kind of music. So Two Unlimited. Who's the first band on? Is it Two Unlimited? Like who is opening up that festival to the grey suit?
Probably Celine Dion. I think she's the artist I remember liking earliest.
That's brilliant. And Celine Dion.
Basically, this entire festival, you could just put a Now CD on every day. Like, just pick. Now that's what I call music from different periods of my life. Whack 'em on. Brilliant. That was Laura's taste in music. Whatever could be bulk bought.
Well, what I like the best is that you should have called this festival. Now that's what I call Laura Lexx. Like,
yeah. Now that's what I call festivals.
Yes. And what you should do is like, on your playlist, you have all like these big artists like Celine Dion, Two Unlimited, big boy bands. So they're all on the poster, but for every act that people have come to see, you come on stage, go, hello, how's it going, festival? You just come on stage, go into a CD player, pop it on, and leave the stage. There you go.
Well, here's a couple of my rules about the music.
Yes.
They are only allowed to play mainstream hits.
Okay, so no obscure tracks.
No B-sides, no obscure tracks. Literally only bangers. They're only allowed to play their bangers.
Oh wow.
Another rule, which is possibly not going to go down too well, but there is to be no singing along.
Oh my God.
Now, here's what I think with this.
Yeah.
Each band will play their set twice, once at the main stage and once at the singing along stage.
Oh my!
And if you want to sing along, you're very welcome to go to the singing along stage and join in. But if you don't want to hear a load of out of tune drunk idiots singing over the top of the professionals you've paid to hear, then you watch them at the main stage.
Okay, so what essentially you've done is that you've created the cinema version of like, oh, here's the sing along version, and also the one for the adults. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And miming along to a pre-record is encouraged because everybody knows live music is trash.
So, you know what?
I did tell you I was wrong for this podcast, Matt Hoss. I did tell you I've got some terrible opinions, and this festival was going to bring them all out.
You know what? I never knew this about you. I didn't know it was such a deep entrenched thing. In fact, I remember one at the last Edinburgh Fringe. I actually made you a playlist, and one of the artists on it was Queen, and you said, I hate Queen, and I knew that's a red flag then. What was that? Sorry,
Queen is basically novelty music.
Sorry, I think you were on mute there. Can you? I don't think I quite heard what you said there. Can you repeat that?
I said Queen is basically novelty music. I've said it 3 times now, Matt Hoss.
I was hoping you would change it, but you didn't, and I don't want to get angry at you, Laura, because this is a podcast. But I'm very close to losing my tether with you. Queen are very good. Take it back, please.
Well, I'm sure they are very good at making novelty music.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm not sure if we can continue with this podcast. So I'm gonna have to end the meeting.
It's a very bad idea to have me on the podcast.
No, this is really fun. I'm really enjoying it. So, can you name some other bands on that 90s Tuesday, and who could the headliner be as well? Who do you think the headliner of that early stage is?
The headliner of the very earlyness would be like, who did I love when I was younger? It would be like my mum's taste in music and things that were on in the kitchen. So I reckon the headliner on day 1 would be Curtis Stigers.
Oh wow! I don't think I know Curtis.
You're far too young. You're all that matters to me. The ground that you walk on, the air that you breathe. Someday you'll discover I don't want no other, believe me.
I'm sorry, Laura, you're not allowed to do that at this stage. You have to go. I'm sorry.
Exactly. See, now you're on board with my rules, aren't you?
I actually love it. So, how about that music in the kitchen? What was it about it which made you like music, or what about it made you like Curtis Stigers?
It's just nostalgia, isn't it? It's like that music was a soundtrack to mum cooking dinner while I did my homework on the table, or just that feeling of getting home from school and the familiarity of it. And like, I don't know, I suppose with music, I just wasn't bothered enough about music to seek out what I liked. It was like, oh, this is music and it's on. Mm-hmm. Cool. I don't know.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. Yeah. So a lot of 90s. It's a very themed day. Actually, it's quite tight in terms of different acts as well. So let's move. I'm very excited for Wednesday and boy bands. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So I think on the Wednesday we'll move into my teenage years, like my puberty teenage years. Yeah. So I think it would be a lot about boy bands. So there would be Boyzone. Backstreet Boys, probably Take That, but Robbie headlining.
Robbie headlining.
Robbie headlining. Maybe like a double header with Will Young, because Robbie and Will Young were definitely the like the powerhouses of my teenage crushes. Like, I still love Will Young to this day. I just think he's got an excellent voice. And I remember as a teenager being very proud of myself because I liked Will Young, even though I didn't watch Pop Idol. I liked him for his music, not for his pop idolness. Thank you very much.
So this is you know what, this is the most unique Castival I've done so far. This is pretty good.
You probably have to have Busted and McFly in there as well. They were big in my teenage years. McFly, excellent.
Yes. So is it Busted and McFly together? Is it McBusted or is it just separate?
I didn't know McBusted stuff as well. I'd kind of drifted off by the point of that, but I loved Busted first, and then when McFly came along, I really loved McFly too.
So I want to talk more about Robbie and Will Young headlining. So are they kind of like doing an hour each, or are they doing like a collaboration set? And if they were to do a song together, which song do you reckon it would be?
I reckon they could do some of the. Do you remember when Robbie went off on that like crooner phase?
Yes. Yeah.
Swing When You're Winning album.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great because Robbie is an entertainer, not a singer. But let's put Will's vocal talent along with Robbie's entertainment talent. And Will puts on a hell of a stage show too. I've seen him live a couple of times and he's very fun. So I reckon they could maybe like mix it in and out, you know, like.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
So it's kind of like you're getting two shows in one, but like Will Young is supplying the talent and Robbie's kind of doing the show. He's a showman.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Also, since Take That are on the bill as well, are you getting like old school Take That or new Take That? What's your vibe?
A good mix. I think Take That's comeback was strong and the new stuff was good. So yeah, I reckon a real healthy mix of both because they had their comeback when I was at university. So yeah, I reckon that could work.
Oh, brilliant. And who's opening that day as well? Because there's a lot of strong talent on there in terms of boy bands. Busted, McFly, Boyzone, Backstreet Boys.
I reckon Boyzone would open because they were probably my first boy band crush. I loved Boyzone with all my heart.
What was that transition between that first era of music to that boy bands? What's the thing that got you hooked? Like, why was Boyzone the one that stood out?
Probably hormones, and they were very attractive.
Was it just like a timing, as in terms of like, were they just around when?
Yeah, you know, those things are designed to speak to teenagers, aren't they? They literally manufacture these groups to appeal, and it works. I think Boyzone were just probably the first band that I was interested in more of their stuff. Like I say, like I was much more interested in having like a compilation album of a load of stuff that was on at the time. But I definitely had like full Boyzone albums.
Do you still like boy bands to this day? Like,
do I still like boy bands to this day? Like, would I still listen to the boy bands I liked then now, or do I like current boy bands?
I think both are valid questions.
I think I would probably still listen to McFly or later Take That stuff. I think McFly have stood up musically pretty well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas the rest of it, you listen back to old Boyzone stuff and you're like, God, this is saccharine awfulness. Why is that? Oh, I'm not 13 anymore. Yeah, hormones aren't raging around my body making me think he's in love with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of it kind of stands up in irony as well. Like I remember Backstreet Boys. They have quite a few singles where they're quite good songs, but also people like it in an ironic way as well. Going, yeah.
I think there's the odd song. Like, you know, if I was thinking about Boyzone now, I don't know, something like A Different Beat, which I loved at the time. No, I wouldn't listen to that now. But if A Picture of You came on, that song probably stands up. Do you remember that song? I genuinely
thought you meant a picture of Matt Hoss, and I was like, whoa, well, that's a bit weird for your festival.
Well, that's my screensaver, so that's
it's good to be validated.
Yeah.
But so I think genuinely so far, like in terms of theme-wise and the artists you have on, it's that they're all quite compact. If you know what I mean, there's a lot of content there as well. How long do you reckon each set would be, roughly?
Depends how many of their songs that I like.
Okay, because there's only bangers as well. So like,
yeah.
So with that rule, do they submit a set list to you and you go, yes, no, definitely not that one. Replace that with
Yeah. I imagine they'd come to me, asking me my taste. and I'd let them know, and then they'd go away and wish that more of their songs had appealed to me. I reckon that's probably how it would work.
Well, that's interesting though, because like as you were just saying with Boyzone, there's maybe not that many songs you like anymore as well. So it's like, actually, you just stand on stage and talk about your music if you fancied it.
Oh no, don't do that. No, no, thank you.
Okay, I think that's two brilliant days so far. Let's see what's happening on your Thursday.
Okay, so I think by Thursday we're all a bit tired and cross.
Well, I think that's Tuesday, in all fairness. So
yeah. Well, by Thursday, you need a low-key day, don't you? Mm-hmm. So on Thursday, we're having another big part of my musical life and taste, and it's all soundtrack music.
Oh my God, nice.
So Thursday is entirely hits from the musicals and good instrumental music from soundtracks.
Oh, wow, this is... we've actually not discussed this on this podcast before, and I think this is really... I listen to loads of like instrumentals, especially when you're writing and stuff like that. It's music designed to be heard, but in the background to not attract your attention, isn't it? So, so it's stuff like that. It's really wonderful to write to, and also I don't think soundtracks get the credit they deserve. Obviously, there's awards categories in them for like films and stuff like that, but soundtracks themselves are so wonderful as well. They really add so much to the thing that you love. I love video games, and without soundtracks, they're just not as good. It adds it to that next level. So let's talk about instrumentals. What are some of your favorite instrumental pieces or like soundtracks?
I really love things with like a Spanish influence to them. And I like a lot of Spanish language music for the same reason that I then can't get distracted by the lyrics when I want something instrumental. I quite like putting on something like classical film soundtrack, and then you're sort of like half aware of strains being from films that you know, that kind of thing. I also really like looking at like the Planet Earth documentary soundtracks and things like that, because they tend to be so sweeping, and then like, you know, you'll have a sort of strings bit and you think, oh, I bet that was a battle between two eels or something like that, you know. You can sort of try and guess which animals.
That's a great podcast idea. That's the next one. Guess the soundtrack.
Which animal was banging while this music played? But I think that could mix it up a little bit. And then along with that sort of soundtrack, every now and again, the cast of Hamilton pops out and does 20 minutes of Hamilton for you.
And do they just keep on popping in, like kind of like an MC on a festival, kind of popping in every 20 minutes just to do a song throughout the day? Or how is it?
I reckon you'd probably have like an hour of soundtrack. So like the best bits of Sweeney Todd or Les Mis, etc., over an hour, and then you'd have a good 45-minute of instrumental for people to just mill about and chat and talk. Because often if you go to a festival with music people, once the music program starts, they're so interested in like dashing between all of the acts that they want to see that you lose some of the socializing element. And I can see why you do it from a lineup perspective, because you want to sell loads of tickets and you want to cram your itinerary full. But as a person going, you're like, I want half an hour where nobody's running off to go and do something and we're all just lying around enjoying something. So I would have like a little bit of chill out time with the instrumental.
So it's like a whole day for communal activities, right? So you get to have that kind of socializing as part of that group as well.
Well, activities are a big part of my festival. So on each stage, when you're watching a band, there's an activity to do, because just standing watching music is very boring.
Unless you go to the other tent where you get to sing along. But
but nobody's going to be there because until that's another thing. If you go to that tent, you get kicked out the festival. That's how we caught you.
What there is, it's like a kind of like a spring door mechanism. Like they go in, are you ready to rock? Woo! And they all fall through like and get
we caught you. So I think, like, you know, you can have bread baking, some cross stitch, making stuff, like just things to keep you busy while you're watching the music.
Okay, so is this across all the days or just soundtrack day?
All days.
Okay, so for example, you'll be watching Celine Dion and painting a landscape, something like that. Okay. So how many people do you reckon are at your festival? And is it feasible to make ovens for everyone, like for bread baking and stuff like that?
I'd say there's probably only 4 people that meet all of the criteria to go to my festival. It's also
Okay.
going to have to be thousands of pounds per ticket. In order to break even, we're talking probably about 300,000 to 400,000 pounds a ticket. So I can't imagine there's many people there, to be honest.
Hey Derek, do you fancy going to this festival, which is hard to get to? Very some very obscure music, and also it's just, and you have to be painfully acutely prepared for it. Yeah, go on then. Sounds great.
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
And also, like, I'm not going to advertise it, and it doesn't have a name. So unless you know me, you don't know it's happening, and I don't know anybody rich enough or that would want to go. So it's a real problem as to business.
I think you're trying to tank your own festival. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's gonna. Well, maybe like Citizens of Vibes Bureau can help us out a little bit here. Can help us smooth some of the edges here. But it's your dream festival. So, is there any other activities that you would? Is it stuff like you personally like doing, or just generally chilled out things, or what's?
It's just stuff that keeps people busy without them needing to draw attention to themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's not like learning to hula hoop. It's sit quietly on your own, do your thing.
Okay. What's your opinion if someone came in and they, when you're at a party...
Matt, you know the answer to this, they would get kicked out.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You actually did answer that pretty efficiently. Okay.
But what about they would be kicked out?
If they, no, out straight away.
Out.
Okay.
If I've noticed they're at my festival, they have to leave.
So you have to be like camouflaged the whole way through. Oh, she's coming.
But I'm not allowed to be there. I've got a blog. So it's not even me. It's somebody working on my behalf.
Oh my God. It's like you've kind of painted like a Sauron figure at your festivals. Like, they're coming, Frodo. And like, you're like...
That would be a good idea. Have a big like Eye of Sauron totem in the middle. And then when somebody was annoying, it like zaps them out with a laser.
Cost efficient, I imagine. Would anyone be headlining on Thursday, or is it just? I think there's some good shouts, but potentially, or is it just generic?
I think probably the cast of Les Mis would be headlining.
Yeah,
Les Mis is my favorite musical.
Has it always been your favorite?
Yes, I think so. I'm waiting to see. Possibly Hamilton will supplant it, because I do love Hamilton, but I've only known of it for a few years, whereas I've known of Les Mis for like 16 years. So
yeah, it's hard to.
If in 10 years I still love Hamilton as much as I love it right now, while it's new to me, then it might supplant it.
Yeah, because you can't just uproot something which has nostalgic sentiment as well. Okay, well, I think it's ready to go on our final day at sort of Friday, and I honestly have no idea where this final twist of the river has taken us. So, what is your final day?
Okay, the final day is a bit of a mishmash, but I'd say it's probably more the rock day.
Yeah.
As in, it's just Dwayne Johnson from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. when the festival ends. No, Friday is music-wise, it is a bit mishmash, but it's like all my favorite bands, which I think the genre that my favorite music falls into mostly is rock. Ish. So it would go through the Rolling Stones, Fleetwood Mac, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Kings of Leon, the Black Keys. Like they're probably my bands that I do know the most of and have seen live and like have albums of, rather than just could name a couple of songs. So that would be the Friday, like quite a big rocky finish.
Oh wow, cool. And have you got any other suggestions in terms of artists? Because you've got like some like headliners on this day, or like already some massive people. Who's opening? Who's closing?
Oh, whoever needs to get off earlier,
Are you doubling up tonight? Yeah.
Yeah, as an artist myself, I think the running order, like whoever steps up to close, like if, say you're the Black Keys and it's just worked out that the Rolling Stones have got to get a train earlier, and so the Black Keys end up closing, you're going to up your game if you've got to play over the Rolling Stones, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I'll let them talk it out in the green room and just decide you know, logistically there might be childcare stuff going on.
Yeah.
So they can do that, and I'll just, you know, I want it to be nice for the acts.
Yeah. So, yeah, sorry. Do you mind us going on early? Because like Mick's got an early 9 a.m. shoot. You know,
Exactly.
he's got to yeah. He's got to get in the megabus home, mate. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's wow. That Friday is really great for me.
The Friday's a banger. Yeah. But it's going to be a bit scattergun because it'll be all the bands that I've suddenly remembered at last minute. Go, oh yeah, I love them. Yeah, come on the Friday.
Yeah, it's just stick them on. Like, so because you said you've been to the End of the Road Festival, is there any acts you've seen at those festivals that which you would put on this day, like things, any ones you go, I really love them, seeing them live, I would love them at my festival?
Well, no, because live music's trash. So
sorry, I
whenever
forgot you had
I've seen
that
a band that I quite liked at a festival, I've gone and listened to their recorded stuff and gone, music's just better when it's done very carefully indoors.
I keep on forgetting that you hate festivals.
Yeah,
sorry.
There've been a couple of bands like End of the Road was where I first heard Screaming Females, and is it White Denim? Is that the other band that I liked from there? And I then went home and listened to some of their stuff, and but I'd completely forgotten both of those bands existed until you just said that. So it's not like I now love them and seek them out. I listen to Taylor Swift every day until I really think to myself, oh, I could listen to something else now.
Well, to be honest, I was hoping we would double click into that conversation about like all these cool bands. Nope, it was a cool.
I'm really sorry, Matt.
It's quite okay.
That's another guest. We'll have to do that for you because I no.
Okay.
You get my brother on this podcast. He would be brilliant at this.
You know what? In a couple of years' time, I want you and your brother to come on side by side. And
He'd be so angry at me. He'd be like, my brother's got the absolute opposite opinion to me on music and music festivals. He lives for them, loves them, goes to all of them, and just is so into music. And then they're like researching and planning. Like he'll kill me when he hears this.
Okay, well, I think it's time to head to our final part of our festival and see what happens there. As with event management, things are bound to go wrong. So in Floor Fillers, we have some hypothetical question that Laura has to deal with in a manner that she sees fit. Oh no, the Rolling Stones have cancelled last minute. Who do you get to replace them?
Oh, literally anybody else on the list. It's fine.
See, the issue with Floor Fillers with in this case, so is that you're like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. I literally couldn't be asked.
So the Rolling Stones have pulled out Aerosmith. Let's put Aerosmith in instead. They're practically the same.
Yeah, please don't say that to me.
Just looking at your little face twitching, like
yeah, I'm like,
terrible.
It's twitching. Okay. Question number 2. Oh dear, someone is running late and you need someone to fill in for time. Fortunately, one of your favorite celebrities is willing to do a DJ set for you. Which celebrity would you pick to do a DJ set for you?
What is a DJ set?
Like someone famous coming on, playing some music, and people can dance to it.
Oh well, I'd pick a DJ then.
What was that? Sorry.
I'd pick a DJ.
You can pick like someone to do a guest DJ and be like, oh look, it's Jay from In Between is DJing. It's like, you know, in student venues, it gets people to DJ because it's cost effective. If you know what I mean, it's basically it's a PR stunt. That's what it is.
But how do I know if they're going to be any good at DJing?
Okay.
I'm really sorry. No. So you just so I just need to think of a celebrity. No, who would be?
It's basically. It's not necessarily you can pick a DJ if you want, but it's more like
Ken Bruce from Radio 2. He's really funny, and he knows loads about music, and he could maybe do us a little pop master session.
That's really good, actually.
Okay, Ken Bruce.
Yeah, there we go. I feel bad because I'm being like jokey, rude to you, but I don't mean it, by the way. I just want to clarify that.
I'm enjoying Spicy Matt. It's good.
Celine Dion is an absolute diva towards you. How do you get...
Good. If you booked Celine Dion and she wasn't a prick, you'd be furious, wouldn't you? You don't book Celine Dion unless you want her to be a twat. Yeah, if she's not a diva, she's kicked out. She has to be a diva. That's a rule. That's another rule.
It's nice that in a contract, like, okay, Celine, you have to be a proper arsehole for the next 15 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah,
like,
that's part of what you're paying for in the Dion experience.
Okay. Next question. I think I know the answer to this already, but people start setting fire to their tents like they do in Reading and Leeds. How do you put out the fires?
We don't. We just zip the people into their burning tents.
Listener, you can't see Laura's face here, but she's not joking. It's stern iron fist right here.
Yeah, no, we've thought that through. There are 5 security people for every person attending my festival. It's got a very, very ominous feeling when you stroll around.
The people who make the Planet Earth soundtrack and the people who make classical film soundtracks absolutely hate each other's guts. And they say, you know what, we're not going to perform if the other people are going to perform. You have to choose one of us. Which out of the two would you pick? Classical film soundtrack or Planet Earth soundtrack?
Classical film, I think. Because there's something really nice about those like memorable refrains in instrumental music that instantly whisk you to a world that you know in a film. Like, you know, when like the Hobbiton bit plays from Lord of the Rings and you suddenly go, I know exactly where I am when that music plays. I think that could be a really nice collective experience across a festival.
Brilliant. And final question, Laura. Robbie Williams and Will Young say they will agree to play, but they will only play their most obscure set, but it will be twice as long. Do you agree to those terms?
No. I mean, the problem for me with Will Young and Robbie Williams is even their most obscure set I would know. So like, what are we talking there? Probably like Hot Fudge, Monsoon, Me and My Monkey, all the stuff off the Escapology album as far as Robbie's concerned, isn't it? Because that album, not strong. So I'd be all right. And actually, I'm probably the only person attending and I'm not even there. I'm watching it via video link because of my stupid blog. So... yeah, maybe I would let them. Yeah. As Brilliant. It's those two cheeky chappies.
Well, what a fantastic guest. Thank you so much for coming on, Laura. It's been an absolute treat.
Thanks for having me, Matthew Hoss.
I mean, genuinely, that's the most stressed I've been for the last, 12 weeks. But,
see, because we're not doing Edinburgh together this year, you thut you were going to have a stress-free year.
Yeah. No. You have so much going on at the moment, and can you plug some of your amazing projects at the moment, so people can go and buy stuff and whatnot?
Yes. So first up, please listen to my podcast, National Treasures Podcast, which is where me and my friend Will Duggan go on day trips and record a podcast while we're doing it. If you like tourism and days out and history and comedy, that's for you.
But not live music.
No, never live music. My first book is out on the 3rd of September. You can pre-order it now on all of the usual places. It's called Klopp, actually, and it's an imaginary diary of my fictional marriage to Jürgen Klopp. So please buy that. What else am I doing? I'm back on tour, but I don't know whenever everything's open again, probably 2021, who knows. But follow me on Twitter and Instagram for those. I'm at LEXXLaura on Instagram and at Laura Lexx on Twitter.
Brilliant, and thank you for being such an amazing guest. You can follow me at Castival Podcast. If you want to send in some suggestions for your own dream festival, why don't you get in touch with us at castivalpodcast@gmail.com. But please join me in saying thank you to my wonderful and, I'm going to say, anarchic guest, Laura Lexx. Thank you.
That was so fun.
Thank you so much for listening to Castival. Please check out our previous episodes and please give us a 5-star rating on your podcast server of choice and give us a subscription as well. You can follow me at Matt Hoss Comedy and you can check out my Twitch streams at Matt Hoss Comedy on Twitch. See you soon. Bye.
Hello, Castival listeners. I'm Barry McStay.
I'm Ben van der Velde.
And we'd love you to listen to Worst Foot Forward, our podcast all about failure.
Each week we are joined by a guest to discuss the world's worst something, from detective to invasion, train to horror movie. we dive into humankind's darkest depths in search of the absolute pits.
And as music lovers, you'll be glad to know we've talked our way through worst Beatles song, worst music videos, and worst musical duos, where we learned never to cross Daphne and Celeste. Ever.
On Worst Foot Forward, we've learned that conspiracy theorists think rocks aren't really hard, why one French physicist invaded the Channel Island of Sark, and how exactly to make a wasp gun.
While also uncovering the railway station of the dead, the doctor who put goat balls into human scrotums, and the West End musical funded by bird poo.
Subscribe to Worst Foot Forward on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out our website, worstfootforwardpodcast.com, and join us for some fun-filled zero worship.